Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to do an independent samples t-test in R, and I'm going to be using the hospital data set described in our book, Basic Statistics for the Behavioral and Social Sciences, using R to do that. So we can, and I've already done this, clicked on the data set, the spreadsheet icon up in the environment to display the variables in this data set, and here you see a continuous variable called ADL, and that measures the activities of daily living in our sample of hospital patients. The other thing that we have in this data set is a variable called readmit 30, and that demonstrates for each patient whether he or she had been readmitted to the hospital within 30 days. So using an independent samples t-test, we can test the hypothesis that patients who were readmitted within 30 days had lower levels of activities of daily living than those not readmitted. And those are two samples, those readmitted and those not. So these are independent samples. So one of the things that you should know about R is that equal variances are not assumed in R. That's different than in other statistical packages like SPSS and Stata, where equal variances are assumed. So what we'll want to do first is test whether the variances in our two samples are the same or not, or at least similar enough. That's with regard to the ADL scores. So to do that, we're going to type var.test and hospital $ADL, and we're going to use this tilde to denote our grouping variable, which is our readmit 30. And I think I have, yeah. Now if I hit enter, this is our F-test to compare the two variances, and it is testing that the variances in ADL scores between those readmitted and those not readmitted is equal to 0, and that's stated in this alternative hypothesis. However, our p-value is greater than 0.05, so unfortunately, or not, we're unable to reject the null hypothesis, which is that the variances are not different. So we can assume equal variances in this case. So we'll note that because we'll have to put that option in our t-test. So to actually run our t-test, I'm just going to change var test to t-test. Everything else is the same. Now, if we were going to assume unequal variances, we could just hit enter here, and we would get the result with that correction. But since we are going to assume equal variances, we have to specify that in our option. And here's the result of our two-sample t-test. First of all, they show you the means of the two groups. So it looks like those not readmitted had a mean ADL score of 8.87, and those readmitted were slightly lower at 8.45. However, because our p-value is greater than 0.05, we are unable to reject the null hypothesis that the true difference in the means is equal to 0. So statistically, there appears to be no difference in ADL scores between those readmitted within 30 days and those not. And I hope you found this video helpful.